Do you find creating functions in Python is a time-consuming task? To get a temporary output, you have to create a function and write many lines of codes. Well, I am here to help you get the same output by creating a function using a single line of code with the help of Lambda. So if you want to save your time from writing huge lines of codes and code more smartly, then watch this video till the end as I will tell you why to use the Lambda functions, what are the key differences between Lambda function and a normal function, and most importantly, what are higher order functions. This is a very important point to remember, so make sure you don't miss it. So before creating a Lambda function, let us know what it is. So a Lambda function, also known as an anonymous function, is a feature in Python that allows you to create small one-line functions without having to define a formal function using the def keyword. As we create a function using a def keyword, we create the Lambda function using Lambda keyword. So let's head to the screen and see how can we use it. So as you can see on the screen, I have created a function named square, which takes the input x and returns the square of the x. So if I write square and pass a number 5, I get the square of 5. Let's see how we can do it using the Lambda function. So I will write Lambda, give an input x, colon, after colon we have to write the output. So we need x raised to 2, that is the square of x. And if I run it, I get a Lambda function, so I will save it in a variable. And if I write sq and pass a number, I get the same output. But what if I need a cube of this digit? So I will have to create another function. But if I use this Lambda function right here, I get the cube of 5. That is the power of Lambda function. Let's take another example. Here I have created a function which tells us whether the given number is odd or even. So I will write odd or even. Pass a number 10 and it says it's an even number. Let's see how we can do it using the Lambda function. I will write Lambda, give an input x, colon, give the output. I will write even if x modulus 2 is equal to 0, else odd. And if I run it, I get a Lambda function and I will store this Lambda function in a variable. And if I pass a digit in this variable, I can get the same output which says even. So this is how handy is the Lambda function. So now we know how to use it, but you must be thinking why and where to use it. I will tell you about it in a while, but before that, let's see the differences between a normal function and a Lambda function. So a Lambda function has no name, whereas a normal function has a name after a def keyword. Lambda function has no return values, whereas normal function returns none as an output. Lambda function is written in one line, whereas normal function has no limit. Lambda functions are not reusable, but normal functions are reusable. Now that we know the differences, let's see why we use Lambda functions. So Lambda functions are mainly used with higher order functions. But what are these higher order functions? So a higher order function is a function that takes a function as an input or returns a function as an output. Let's see some examples to concrete the understanding. So as you can see on the screen, I have the square function which will give us a single value. So I will define another function named transform which will take a function as an input and take a list as an input. So I will create a list of outputs and I will write for I in L, which is our list, output.append f of I, which means f is our function and I is the parameter that we will be passing in the function, and outside of the loop I will write print output. So let's check the function. Write transform, pass this function square, comma, a list, and if I run it, I get 149. Now here transform is a higher order function which is taking another function as an input. Let's try using the lambda function here. So I will write transform lambda input x, colon, output x raised to 2, comma, pass a list. If I run it, I get 149. And if I want the cube, I will just change it to 3. So you don't need to create another function to do a small change in your function. And that is the power of Lambda. So now you know how to use a Lambda function, but that's not all. In the next video, we will be exploring the 3 most commonly used higher order functions that are used along with Lambda functions. But till then, go through the videos on the screen to know more cool things about Python, and I will see you there. So keep learning and thanks for watching.